أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. Today is the continuation of Tafsir al-Qur'an al-Karim. We are still in chapter 2, verse number 26 of the Glorious Qur'an. Today is the 12th lecture. Today is equivalent to the 1st of January 2022 after Christ alayhi salam, which is equivalent to the 8th of 5th month in the Islamic calendar, 1444 after Hijrah of Rasulullah from Mecca to Medina. Jumada Ula. Allah Azza wa Jal is saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله لا يستحي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها، فأما الذين آمنوا فيعلمون أنه الحق من ربهم، وأما الذين كفروا فيقولون ماذا أراد الله بهذا مثلا، يضل به كثيرا ويهدي به كثيرا وما يضل به إلا الفاسقين. إن الله لا يستحي. Allah is not shy to present an example, that of a mosquito or what is other than it. And those who have believed know that it is the truth from their Lord. But as for those who disbelieve, they say, what did Allah intend by this example? He mislead many thereby and guide many thereby. And he mislead not except the deviantly disobedient. الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه ويقطعون ما أمر الله به أن يوصل ويفسدون في الأرض أولئك هم الخاسرون. Who break the covenant of Allah after contracting it and sever that which Allah has ordered to be joined and cause corruption on earth, it is those who are the losers. After Allah has finished explaining about what He promised the believers in Jannah, He said He promised those who believe and do righteous deeds that He is going to give them guidance after their death, and then there are rivers flowing beneath it, and then they will be given different kinds of fruits with high level of tests, and then He is going to give them wise spouses in Jannah and that they are clean. And then He said they will abide in this Jannah forever and ever. So they will keep on enjoying it. Then Allah Azza wa Jal now is saying, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحِي أَنْ يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا مَا بَعُوضَةً فَوْقَهَا. Allah Azza wa Jal is not shy of bringing an example of a mosquito or other than it. According to Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Umar, and majority of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they believe that this verse was revealed when these verses which came before them, مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا فلما أضاءت ما حوله ذهب الله بنورهم وتركهم في ظلمات لا يبصرون صم بكم عمي فهم لا يرجعون أو كصيب من السماء فيه ظلمات ورعد وبرق يجعلون أصابعهم في آذانهم من الصواعق حذر الموت والله محيط بالكافرين. These verses were talking about the hypocrite. Allah was drawing an example of the hypocrite, that they are like people who are in extreme darkness, and then a light suddenly comes to them and then it disappears. Now when these verses were revealed, then the munafiqun were saying Allah is higher than bringing elementary examples of all this darkness and light. Then Allah revealed this verse is إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحِي أَن يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا, that Allah is not shy of bringing any analogy of a mosquito. Qatada says, when Allah brought analogy of a fly and spider, and then the kuffar were saying, مَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ مِنْ ذِكْرِ هَذَا, what did Allah intend with these examples? Then the verse was revealed, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحِي أَن يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا مَا بَعُوضَةٌ مَا فَوْقَهَا. So the difference is just the sabab al-nuzul, the reason for the revelation. But the meaning is the same according to all of them. Anas ibn Malik was saying, the reason why Allah brings an example of a mosquito is because it can survive hunger and can die when it eats a lot. Because the plant scientists were saying that mosquito can survive even 6 months without eating. And then only female mosquitoes are the ones who bite people, that cause people to have all this malaria and whatever. And then the reason why they bite human beings is because they do that in order to develop their eggs. So the blood is not to feed them. So when they suck blood, when they bite human beings, it's not serving as food. They only do that in order to develop their egg. So Anas ibn Malik was saying that what he was saying is that the kuffar, they can be able to stay for long as they choose to remain as long, but when they have enough wealth, what he's saying is that if these kuffar have not mocked about Allah, they did not mock about Islam, they will continue staying for long. But as long as they touch Allah, they mock Allah, that is when Allah is going to destroy them. That's why he brought an example of فَلَمَّا مَنْسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَبْوَابَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. When they forget us, then we bring them enough wealth as a decoy. When they were careless, then Allah will destroy them. So most of the times you see those people who spread mischief on the land, you discover that they are those who have enough wealth. So that is why they are saying African people are more religious. Why? Because we are very strict to the religion and because we are poor. Most of the times, those people who are poor are those who are approaching Allah and they are remembering Allah the most. So that's why Anas ibn Malik here was saying the reason why Allah brings analogy of a mosquito is that this mosquito can survive longer in terms of hunger, but once it eats a lot, it dies. So is the kuffar. Once they have nothing to do with mocking Allah, they can stay for long. But when they eat a lot, Allah gives them a lot of money, a lot of wealth. That is when they will spread corruption. And immediately when they do that, Allah will catch them. As he mentioned, فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَبْوَابَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مَا بَعُوضَةً أي مثل كان. Any example of a mosquito, whether mosquito or otherwise. فما فوقها. So the mufassirun here differ. What they are saying is that the first group are saying indeed Allah is not shy to present an example of a mosquito or what is smaller than it. This is the interpretation of Al-Khasai and Abi Ubaid. But according to Qatada and Ibn Jarir, they said the interpretation is that indeed Allah is not shy to present an example of a mosquito or what is bigger than it. So the difference is what Allah is talking about from فَمَا فَوْقَهَا, other than mosquito. Allah can bring example of a mosquito or smaller than mosquito or bigger than mosquito. So if Allah can create small living being as mosquito, so also cannot be shy of to shun in setting example of smaller animal as mosquito or smaller than it. Allah draws analogy of a fly when he says, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ ضُرِبَ مَثَلٌ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ لَن يَخْلُقُوا ذُبَابًا وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا لَهُ وَإِنْ يَسْلُبْهُمُ الذُّبَابُ شَيْئًا لَا يَسْتَنقِذُوهُ مِنْهُ ضَعْفَ الطَّالِبِ وَالْمَطْلُوبِ. O you people, here is analogy for you. Listen to it. Those whom you call other than Allah, have not even created a fly, and even if they can, gather on it. And if this fly can snatch anything from them, they cannot retrieve it. Subhanallah. Allah Azza wa Jal here is saying, even fly, Christ has never created a fly, and if this fly can harm him, he cannot be able to save himself. Not only Christ, anyone who is taken as God, Allah Azza wa Jal is bringing this challenge that they have not created any living thing, and let alone the fly. Allah Azza wa Jal is bringing a smaller example. So there are many examples brought by Allah. If you read, he also draws analogy of a spider. He says, مثل الذين اتخذوا من دون الله أولياء كمثل العنكبوت اتخذت بيتا وإن أوهن البيوت لبيت العنكبوت لو كانوا يعلمون. The example of those who take other than Allah as protectors. A spider seeks protection from its house. Nevertheless, the weakest house is spider web if they are wise to understand it. Take a look at the house of a spider. Even a finger can destroy it. Your own finger. Small thing. So also those who seek protection from D.R.A. From those who seek protection from other than Allah. There are some people who seek protection from Durga. Those who seek protection from Shiva. So look at this Durga. Herself, she rely on weapons and tiger, and you are here relying on her. So she cannot give you protection, and then you are relying on her. Allah Azza wa Jal is bringing this example for you to think about it. It is like a spider holding a spider web as a protection. And then Allah Azza wa Jal also brought another example. He says, ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبا كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفروع في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. Allah Azza wa Jal is saying, have you not considered how Allah present an example of a good word? It is like a good tree. Its root is firmly fixed and its branches are in the sky. It produces its fruits all the time by permission of its Lord. And Allah present example for the people that perhaps they will be remembered. This is in Surah Ibrahim. An example of bad word, Allah is saying, وَمَثَلِ كَلِمَةٍ خَبِيثَةٍ كَشَجَرَةٍ خَبِيثَةٍ اجْتُثَّتْ مِنْ فَوْقِ الْأَرْضِ مَا لَهَا مِنْ فَرَارٍ. An example of bad word is like a bad tree uprooted from the surface of the earth, not having any stability. So these are examples. Allah is bringing many examples for us to understand. It's only those who are wise that can understand it clearly. And then Allah brought example of a slave. He said, ضرب الله مثلا العبدا مملوكا لا يقدر على شيء. Allah draws example of a servant who is owned by someone. He cannot do anything by himself unless the authority of his master. And then Allah says, وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلَ رَجُلَيْنِ أَحَدُهُمَا أَبْكَمُ لَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَى شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ كَلٌّ عَلَى مَوْلَاهُ أَيْنَمَا يُوَجِّهُ لَا يَأْتِي بِخَيْرٍ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي هُوَ وَمَنْ يَعْمُرُ بِالْعَدْلِ. Allah is saying, Allah presented an example of two men. One of them is dumb and unable to do a thing, while he is a burden on his guardian. Wherever he is directed, he brings no good. Is he equal to one who commands justice while he is on a straight path? And then Allah also says, ضرب الله مثل رجلا فيه شركاء متشاكسون. Allah draws example of a slave owned by two people. وَرَجُلًا سَلَمًا لِرَجُلٍ. And another one is a slave who is owned by one person. Can they be compared? Think about this. And then Allah also says, وَتِلْكَ الْأَمْثَالُ نَضْرِبُهَا لِلنَّاسِ وَمَا يَعْقِلُهَا إِلَّا الْعَالِمُونَ. These are examples we bring to the people, and no one understands it except the wise one. So that is why one of the Salaf was saying, whenever I come across the verse that Allah draws an example of an analogy, and I read it and still do not understand, I feel unfortunate for myself and weep. Because Allah is of the highest level, of logic, and he always doesn't out words of mentality. Now if he brings it and I read and still don't understand, I have to wait because I know I have lost a lot. The origin of istihya, shyness, is انقباض عن الشيء والامتناع منه خوفا من مواقعها فوق من مواقعه القبيح. The meaning of shyness is to turn down something and abstain from it for fear of critics. So you fear people, therefore you abstain from saying something. This one is Musa alayhi salam. There was a time he asked Allah Azza wa Jal that Allah Azza wa Jal should protect him or prevent people from speaking evil against him because he is not happy. What did Allah Azza wa Jal tell him? Allah Azza wa Jal tells him, "Oh Musa, even myself, I did not prevent people from criticizing me. And that is because criticism has no any evil in it. It doesn't cause any harm. People say something evil against you. Why is it? You can't see it on your body. You can't see anything. It will not harm you. So forget about what people are saying as long as you know you are on the truth." So Allah Azza wa Jal is not shy of critics. He is not shy of whatever people are saying. You see somebody who is insulting Allah and Allah Azza wa Jal leave him. So because it has no any harm. So Allah Azza wa Jal is saying, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. As for the believers, they open their minds to understand the truth. So once Allah Azza wa Jal brings examples, they open their heart to understand the truth. Think about this. If you hate somebody, his goodness will appear evil in your eyes. He will pray at night, but then you would see that you say that it is show off. He will dig borehole for people as sadaqah, you will say he is lobbying. He will preach to the people, you say he is after fame. He is eager in need of popularity. But if you open your heart, you will be tolerant. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَيَقُولُونَ مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثَلًا. أَيِّ شَيْءٌ أَرَادَ اللَّهُ. Those who disbelieve, they are saying, what is Allah's targeting in these examples that he is saying, he is bringing. So the kuffar would say, يُضِلُّ اللَّهُ بِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Many will be misguided with it, and many will be misguided with it. Many will be guided, and many will be misguided with this Qur'an. Some of them first said, no, that's not the meaning. This is not the statement of the kuffar. This is the statement of Allah. يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا. Many are misguided and many are guided with the Quran. So whenever believers read the Quran, you see their faith is increasing. It is increasing their faith in Allah. You see, they see new species of birds, they increase in taqwa. They see white pelican, they increase in taqwa. Because despite man being expanding vast plenty of fields, advanced is medicine and technology, yet an animal show off from nowhere, and no one has ever made a like of it. وَيُضِلُّ بِهِ وَلَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقُونَ وَمَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقُونَ. No one is misguided with these signs except the fasiqun. The fasiqun, like Mas'ud is saying, al-munafiqun. No one is misguided except the hypocrite. So they see plant growing and they say it is because it is seed. They see woman given birth, they say it is because of the sperm being given to her. But you ask them, how comes a drop of metal and iron cannot form a motor car or a motorcycle or any engine by itself? So think about this. Between motor car and a human being, which one is more difficult? You see, no doubt making of human being is more difficult. Now a common car cannot form itself, but a human being, Allah Azza wa Jal made it, you are saying nobody made it. Think about this. As Allah Azza wa Jal is saying here, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَسْتَحِي أَنْ يَضْرِبَ مَثَلًا مَا بَعُوضَةً فَمَا فَوْقَهَا. Allah is not shy of bringing example of mosquito or any animal apart from it. فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّ الْحَقَّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. Those who believe know that yes, this is from their God, and then they increase in taqwa. أَمَّا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَيَقُولُونَ مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثَلًا But those who disbelieve, they say, for what reason is Allah giving us this kind of examples? يُضِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا, many are misguided for that reason. وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا, but many are guided because of this. وَمَا يُضِلُّ بِهِ إِلَّا الْفَاسِقُونَ, and no one is misguided except the fasiqun, the munafiqun, the kafirun. So Allah now is saying, الَّذِينَ يَنْقُضُونَ عَهْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مِيثَاقِهِ وَيَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَنْ يُوصَلَ وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Who break the covenant of Allah after contracting it and cut that which Allah ordered to be joined and cause corruption on earth, it is those who are losers. After Allah finished discussing the fact that He is not shy of bringing any example, those who believe, they believe. Those who disbelieve, Allah is saying no matter what, they will still disbelieve and they are among the losers. Now He is explaining more about them, those who are corrupt, those who are losers. He is saying they are explaining more about their features. He is saying الَّذِينَ يَنْقُضُونَ عَهْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مِيثَاقِهِ. They are those who break the covenant of Allah. So this ayah is bringing difference and contrasting between believers and disbelievers. As Allah is saying, أَفَمَنْ يَعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ مِنْ رَبِّكَ الْحَقُّ كَمَنْ هُوَ أَعْمَى إِنَّمَا يَتَذَكَّرُ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ الَّذِينَ يُوفُونَ بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ وَلَا يَنقُضُونَ الْمِيثَاقَ وَالَّذِينَ يَصِلُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَنْ يُوصَلَ وَيَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ وَيَخَافُونَ سُوءَ الْحِسَابِ. This verse is talking about the believers. Allah is saying, are those who know that which is revealed to you from your Lord, the truth, as him who is blind? They are not, O Allah. Though the wise ones are those who think. They are fulfilling the covenant of Allah and never cut it. And those who connect what Allah connects and fear their Lord and fear the evil calculation. These are the words of Allah. Allah is praising the believers that they are always fulfilling His covenant. Now, which covenant is Allah talking about here? Some of them Tafsirun, they differed. Some of them say, the first group said, they are those who disobey the Prophet and reject their message of Allah. And then the second group of Mufassirun, they said no, it refers to the Jews and Christians and the hypocrites who broke the covenant of Allah, which is found in the Torah and the Gospel. The prophecies of the last prophet is there in the Gospel, it is there in the Torah, but then they are covering it. This verse is talking about them. So this is according to Ibn Jarir. He picks this as the best meaning of this verse. And the third group said, no, it refers to all the kuffar, meaning that all the kuffar are those who break the covenants of Allah. Because Allah sent His prophets so that He should preach to the people to believe. Then they reject Him. And then the fourth group, they are those who broke the covenants. They say they are those who broke the covenant of the promise that Allah did to which every creation took before the creations of the universe. Allah said since before we come to the earth, Allah took the covenant with all the people, and then someone might say that he forgot that day. He is unable to remember. So Allah was asking all the sons of Adam, am I not your God? And everyone confessed that He is God, and then they promised to worship Him alone. But then we broke the covenant. They broke the covenant here in dunya. And then the next feature which Allah mentioned about them, number one, He said that they are those who break the covenant of Allah. And then He says the second one, وَيَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَنْ يُوصَلَ, and they cut that which Allah ordered to be connected. Imam Qurtubi here is saying, أَنْ يُوصَلَ أي أَلَّا يُوصَلَ كَرَاهَةً أَنْ يُوصَلَ. They hate Islam to be preached. They hate people to be practicing the religion of Islam. They are those people. So Qatada is saying, no, they are those who cut off kinship, Silat al-Rahim. So they are those who, they have brothers, but they don't help the brothers. They have sisters, they don't help them. They have parents, they don't help them. They don't even visit them. They are those people. That is what is saying, وَيَفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Imam Qurtubi says, يعبدون غير الله. So this is the next feature about them. After he says that they are breaking his covenant, and then he says they are cutting kinship, they hate Islam to be preached, and then he says again they are causing corruption on the earth, meaning they worship other than Allah. Because fasad means to break up, to disobey. You are together with somebody, he just break up from you, and then he leaves you. And then the highest level of breakup is to work for somebody who is not your master. This is your master who bought you, and then you are working for somebody. This is exactly what the kuffar are doing to Allah. So he is our servant, he is our master, we are the servant, and then we are worshipping, they are worshipping those who are not their creators. You buy a slave and he was working for somebody. How can you be owned by two people or three masters? This is something that is impossible. Those people who are claiming that Allah is more than one. So now it is a question: how can you be owned by one master? How can you be owned by two masters or three masters? This is something that is difficult to be possible. This verse is stressing the obligations of fulfilling covenant. Allah is saying, "Awfu bil uqud," fulfill the covenant. This verse is showing that fulfilling the covenant is compulsory. It is wajib. Allah tell the prophets, وَإِمَّا تَخَافَنَّ مِنْ قَوْمٍ خِيَانَةً فَانْبِذْ إِلَيْهِمْ عَلَى سَوَاءٍ. If you fear that people you agreed to live in peace with them might betray you, then call them and nullify the peace later. So Rasulullah was living with people, and then he wrote a peace treaty with them that they are going to live with peace. And then Rasulullah is feeling that there is likeliness, there is a chance that they might betray him. Allah says, if you understand that, don't break the covenant, just call them and nullify the peace on ground. Let it be written. If you notice that they are going to betray. So Allah is, so look at the Prophet. Allah is telling him that there is no way he should break the covenant as what he has taken as agreement of living in peace. So this is why we admire Islam, that it is the religion which allows people to live in peace with them. And that is that if you are living with people, you have to write peace agreement with them. We are not going to fight you, you are not going to fight us. Let's write it down. Then they sign. Once you do that, then their blood is haram, and then there is no way you can fight them back. Therefore, fulfilling of covenant is wajib. Allah is saying, وَيَفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and they are causing corruption on the earth. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Allah says these are certainly the losers. Al-khasirun huwa mufrad. Al-jam huwa al-khasirun. The singular is khasir. The plural is khasirun. Ibn Kathir says, An-naqisuna, is explaining the meaning. He said, An-naqisuna anfusahum hududihim bima'asiyatihim Allah min rahmatihi kama yahsuru rajul fi tijaratihi bi an yuda'u min ra'si malihi fi bay'ihi. Those who waste opportunities with doing evil to Allah out of His mercy, just as man loses in his business the losing of the capital. So you are now given capital, you are given health. What is left is to sell at profitable, and then that is doing righteousness. When you sleep and eat and cherish, it is selling at lost price. You will lose. So that is exactly what Allah is saying. So once you use this opportunity, then you are going to get profit, and you're going to get, then Allah will be happy with you. And then when you disobey Allah, then you are among the losers. You will face the wrath of Allah. Then the verse which comes after it is verse number 28. Allah says, كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون. How can you disbelieve in Allah and you were not existing? Then He gave you life, then He will take your life now and resurrect you. Then to him shall you return. These are the words of Allah. So you have nothing, then He gives you. He gives you eye for free. He gives you ear for free. He gives you heart for free. He gives you your body for free. Which when you go to the market, you will never find this one. Allah is saying, you were nothing, then I gave you life. I gave you this, I gave you that. And then He's mentioning what He has done to the people. He's saying that we should remember the time when He created us. We were from nothing, and then He created us. Allah is talking about now. This is the highest level of deprivation. Some confuse themselves that dolly shape is a living thing created by scientists. How can you say that Allah is the one who created everything? We have seen scientists, they have created a dolly shape. Now listen to the explanation of dolly shape, and when I finish, you judge between us whether a dolly shape is cloning or created. Even the scientists themselves, they never said that they have created an animal. They said it is cloning. Now, for every reproduction, we know that there is need of male and female. The male contributes sperm, and the female contributes the egg cell, each of which provide copy of genetic information. Now, Dolly did not have it. The Dolly did not have all these ones. It was cloned artificially. Initially, it had 3 mothers with different functions. The first sheep, what is taken from it is that egg cell is removed from it, which is the unfertilized egg. No DNA was removed, only the cell. Now the second sheep, which is a different species from the first one. A somatic cell was removed from it, which contained all the genetic information. Then the nucleus of this cell from the second sheep was then transferred to the oocyte, which is the egg that is not matured. Then electric stimulus was then used to pull the cell to divide, developing into fertilized stage. Now this fertilized stage, which they call blastocyst, was then implanted into sheep number 3, which is also different from the 2 shapes. It is also a different species. Then it got all the necessary atmosphere needed in the womb, and then it born an animal. They call it a dolly sheep. Now think about all these processes. Think about it. Does it involve creation or not creation? It is a cloning process. Allah says, خَالِقُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ فَاعْبُدُوهُ. He is the creator of everything, so worship Him. كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون. How can you disbelieve in Allah? You were from nothing, then He gave you life. So all these processes is just like everybody is cooking white rice, and then you come with new thing, and then you cook a jollof rice. So there is nothing new you come with. It is something wonderful, but it does not involve any creation. Allah says, وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ اسْتَوَىٰ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ فَسَوَّاهُنَّ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Allah is the one who created for you everything on the earth. Then He straightened Himself above the sky in the arsh. فَسَوَّاهُنَّ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ, and He placed the 7 heavens. وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ, and to everything He is capable and He is aware. So there is no creation in the dolly sheep. There is no artificial creation in it. The first sheep, what is taken from it is the egg cell, that which Allah created. The second sheep, what is taken from it? Somatic cell, which is also a creation of Allah. The DNA, which is also creation of Allah, is taken from it. Then the egg was fertilized outside, which formed blastocyst. Then it was implanted into sheep number 3, and then sheep number 3 took that womb for some times, and then it gave birth to this animal. And then it lived for some moment, and then it died. It's not enough creation. Allah is the one who created everything. We are going to stop here. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.